I'll charge you with my that they start the company back when they have to look at the technology. And as we know, as well, because we start with the having the technology, and the company is back on, I think, Yeah. I was curious about the numbers of ancestors in Indonesia compared to, let's say, in Holland. It was less than 2%. What's the definition of the ancestor in Indonesia? But, compared to my friends in Indonesia and friends in Holland, all my friends in Indonesia have diabetes next to their normal job. So, see that also as a membership. They sell, for example, sports gear from Singapore to Indonesia. Not that main income, but also as good. I will see that with my investment. So these numbers is only for technology produced or in general. Yeah. I don't know, no, but I just amazed by the 2%, only 2%. Because if you drive to for example, an epic uh, complex of houses in a nation, the house is some kind of distributed in the house. So it's also a definition for ourselves. That, you know, yeah, that's why I'm curious about what about the numbers? But I had expected to be somewhere in 15, 7%. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's about 35% of the population of India, right? Yeah. I don't know. The owner doesn't have to be the person selling products. They can employ someone else. Yeah. Okay. Do you think that number is too much? 1.65? What are your So, which you mentioned, I mean, this like private company practically offer software kind of business, right? So, do you think that the fact that we are very low number of employees partially more? So, maybe government should provide like an interaction kind of English is common part involved regarding social media. Yeah, I'm talking about Facebook, Instagram, the total number of users using social media. That's the number five. One of the reasons why number of American companies because of not focusing realize the art of Additional to your question, part of the role. So really, if, for example, if you are talking IT services, okay, scalability means you don't need more developers, right? But there are some challenges. Turnover is high, so how do you deal with that? So, but it should be a part of your plan before you start the business. Because you don't make plan for next month. You make a plan for next 5 years. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. The details you also in the details during the year. But on a high level, okay. Within the 5 years, for example, you start with only one employee, but my goal is to have 100 employees in 5 years. You should think about, okay, how can I get those employees in these 5 years, and also how to keep them in your, in your company. So, yeah.
Okay, so maybe if we like kind of trigger them with that kind of, you will be promoted, they will feel more eager and also incentive for innovation and something that itu thing that we should work on. So that is that. Okay, thank you all for your attention. I hope again. Thank you very much. It was a very interesting presentation. I'm so impressed that she's still so young, but already have a lot of insight for all of us. So I hope everyone is enjoying as much as I enjoyed. And now we are moving on to the third speaker. She is very special. The third speaker is Mrs. Desi Irawati Rutan, Fellow of Regional Studies Association. Mrs. Desi is the business representative of Bank BRI in Netherlands, which is the sponsor of this event. So without her, we cannot have this event. We cannot have a very nice snack and everything. And she also a chairperson of International Indonesian Scientist Education of IO, Scientist Association. So it probably will give us like another insight for entrepreneurship. So Mrs. Desi Irawati, the floor is yours. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, I don't have any presentation slides, so I demand your attention. And hopefully, you can enjoy my presentation. I deliberately didn't make any slide presentations because I got bored. Over the last 30 years, I was working as a scientist, lecturer, researcher, economic geographer, based in the UK. So every day, what I give it to my students, they came from different variety of levels, undergrad, that's what we call bachelor in the UK, master program, DBA, and PhD. So I give them my slides, and I got sort of bored. So therefore, despite my hectic time schedule over the last 2 weeks, I've made the decision, no presentation slides. So hopefully, the attendees will enjoy my live presentation. There is no slide handout whatsoever. So if you don't turn up, that is your loss. This is particularly if you are talking about entrepreneurship. The right pronunciation is only French can pronounce that perfectly because it's from French word, entrepreneurship. Okay, perhaps in Indonesian we call it kewirausahaan. In Dutch, Mas Fajar, ondernemerschap, onderneming, yeah?
Ondernemerschap, yeah.
That's okay. So there we go. Talking about entrepreneurship, it's a murky word. It's a beautiful, but also spiky at the same time. Why? Because what you have heard so far is the beauty and the excitement of this journey. However, there are some pitfalls. There are some myths that you have to realize. That's the trade-off between being entrepreneur or being career-minded person, follow the tenure track, if you like.
So what I'm going to tell you about is basically sort of the triangulation that I have over the last 13 years. I moved from Indonesia. I was born in Indonesia, British educated. I work in Europe now, married to a Dutchman because he didn't want to go to Europe. Sorry, to UK. So I moved here. What I'm going to tell you is a triangulation of my experience, my research, empirical studies, but also my responsibility from being a scientist, academic, now also a business entrepreneur, but I call myself at the time edupreneur. And also now as a regulator, as a banker. You have mentioned the second speaker, yeah, the importance of banking institution to fund your business. That is very murky and tricky. So there we go. So I'm thinking while sitting there, what sort of role I have to talk about. As a scientist, although I don't have any affiliation in any university now, but I've got a lifetime fellowship from Regional Studies Association. And that's another word to do another publication. Because if you keep doing your publication, then you can be active research, although you haven't got academic affiliation. Because I cannot, because I'm full-time BNI, Bank Negara Indonesia. So the thing that I'm going to share with you is try to wrap up the things and the story which has been told by the first and the second speaker. And I just want to fill some hiccups from the academic perspective, from the ervaring, the experience, and also some insight. Entrepreneur. Who wants to be entrepreneur? Please hands up. You are the exception, Mas Fajar. You picked up already. So at least let's say 50% from this crowd, they would love to be entrepreneur. My next question, basically, how do you know about entrepreneur? Have you learned about entrepreneur? Or you just want to, this is what we call as a hype. Yeah, everybody wants to be entrepreneur. This is great. You can be your own boss. I can manage my own time schedule. I can work in pajama. I don't have to work 9 to 5. I can deal with all the excitement. That is brilliant. However, have you learned and think about the trade-off? If you're not working 9 to 5, what are the consequences? If you are still single, it's not a big deal. You just have to fulfill your own needs. You just have to pay a bill for one person. However, if you have tails, 2 kids, if you have a family, if you're already married, and in this relationship, you are the breadwinner, then you have another responsibility on your shoulder. You cannot, being selfish, I want to be the boss of myself. And then your wife, oh yes. So what about my monthly income? How done, honey? Can you provide our kids with something? Well, actually, it's a bit think. 9 to 5 means you will have stable income. And within 9 to 5, hopefully within a week, you just work 40 hours. But being an entrepreneur, there is no stability in terms of your income monthly. You get or you take what you put. The more you do in terms of working, it's not just hard. Nowadays, you have to work smart. This is very old school acronyms. In MBA, I always teach my students, you have to work very smart. Oh yes, we do know. We do know the acronyms. Do you know what they're? Please mention it.
Specific.
Exactly. And M?
Measurable.
Exactly. R? A first?
Acceptable.
Sorry? Attainable or assignable. And the other one? R? I'm not trying to, I'm not being a lecturer now. I'm not going to preach you, but I just want to bring some memories. It's not working hard, but smart. Specific, measurable, attainable, or assignable, realistic.
Time frame.
Exactly, time scale. Because if you're just working hard, that's not enough. Nowadays, we're talking about knowledge-based economy. This is knowledge-based economy 1, 2.0. That's what I call as a researcher. We're not just working like in the past, working from to factory. This is individual-based innovation, creativity, entrepreneurship. Okay, so 9 to 5 means that you will get monthly income stable. Whether you are lazy or not, the government or your institution will pay that amount of money. But however, you have some, yeah, I feel a bit distracted because this is mundane, this is banal. It's 9 to 5, and you know, so I got sort of bored with this. Okay, then you might do another adventure. So before you become entrepreneur, try to do intrapreneur. What is that? This is sort of the quality, the traits, the analytical thinking. Before you venture out, you work for somebody else first. Entrepreneur can be you do apprentice or apprenticeship. You are being an intern. You are still an employee. But within this period of time, you have a set time of goal in your mind. 10 years from now, I would like to do this, 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 this. But now you're still saving in terms of your social capital, financial capital, networks, experience, credential, among others. Because if you want to dare yourself being an entrepreneur, there's also a luck factor. And where do you want to start your business? If you start in developing country, with all due respect, you might have a great success. Why? Because in terms of legislation, and we call it Chamber of Commerce, and all the fiscal regulation is still weak and loose. Do that in developed countries. That would be a different case. Mas Fajar have proved that. It's not that easy like that. So you can be a good entrepreneur from emerging nations because there is still some lack of regulation to regulate a truly entrepreneur. That's why in Indonesia, the number is still 2%, because some of them, they are still informal and not registered. The parameters for the entrepreneur basically is revenue and how much tax you will get. You will get tax. This is what we call a VAT, but BTW in Dutch, yeah? VAT, value added tax. And then how many how many employees you've got? Because small, medium-sized enterprise, no top 50 or 50%, we call it small, and is leveling up like that. And also, what about the R&D outcome? If you're talking about high-tech company, have you got money to do R&D? So they have a different parameters to be called, whether you are entrepreneur or not. Sadly, in Indonesia, this parameter is not fixed yet. So the data is always from Ministry of Entrepreneurship and such and such. I don't know, they merged this ministry, not sure. And also the Indonesian statistical data, BPS. But on the ground, it's huge. Everybody can claim that I'm an entrepreneur because the regulation of Indonesian contract, they're still weak and loose. Although you are full-time, and then you can do another side job, selling, mas, mbak bro, or sister, you're using the Facebook, which is fine, because that's the platform for the developing country. You tap into this market, it's e-business, and there's no regulation. You do it here, sometimes you have to be careful. Okay? Where am I? So there you go. I'm talking about this. It's always tangling, yeah? Entrepreneurship, again, 9 to 5, yeah, stable income. But being entrepreneur, there is no promise that you will get stable income. Perhaps this month you will get a lot of clients, but another 3 months, you will not get a clients. And how will you survive in terms of paying the bills? Have you talked about that? And if you just being small and business enterprise, just working for yourself, you don't have to be really worried about paying the employees. What about if you have to hire somebody else? They do have a family as well. So basically, this is trickle-down effect. The ripple effect is great. Will you dare that challenge? If so, go ahead, and don't be naive. Yeah? So, there's always myth, success, and fail. So as a lecturer, as a scientist, I said, it's great if you want to be entrepreneur. You are very idealistic. I want to have others. Great. I want to be a boss for myself. Excellent. You have your own freedom. But at the same time, within your freedom time, you have to think strategic. Okay, Monday to Thursday, that's my technical things. Weekend, I like to do that for family. But being an entrepreneur, sometimes it's the other way around. Weekend, you have to please or to entertain or to showcase your business to clients because that's their time. Are you prepared to take that? If so, do it. If not, So do not just look at the successful entrepreneur. Oh, they're great. There is a lot of trajectories, pitfalls, path dependencies. That's what we call in scientific terms. It's like roller coaster. Put it in a way, it's like a McDonald's logos. You know the logo of McDonald's? And check this. Okay, so it's excellent to be an entrepreneur, but you have to understand how would you equip yourself being a successful, versatile, robust entrepreneur. So I was observing from this first speaker and the second speaker, mentioning basically if I put them into some root, it's about knowledge and skill. There is a myth, oh, you don't need to go to university to be entrepreneur. Everybody can be entrepreneur. Do you believe that? What do you think? You think so? What are you doing at the moment? Are you studying?
Yeah, I study, but I also work for the government.
Right. Back in Indonesia or other countries?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, you can say, yeah, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you don't need to do formal education. You just do it. Okay? This is interesting. One of my colleagues, he was doing entrepreneurship methodology. So excuse my language, but this is what he said. I just copied what he said. Doing entrepreneurship is just like Kama Sutra. Just do it. I said, it's Italiano. So there we go. Basically, and I was thinking, actually, it's quite right. Why? There is no one single recipe. The recipe is case by case. Every individual that live in different time, they live in different geographical space, they live in different situation, they face different competition. So ask yourself, Mas Fajar was absolutely spot on when he mentioned do your self-analysis. SWOT is not just for your business, but for yourself. A great entrepreneur is the one who can spot what I'm good at. What is my talent? And you have to understand, if I'm not good at this, I will outsource to others, job delegation. Because if you force doing that thing, you will fail, or you will go bankrupt, or you will lose other trade-off. Well, you have to dare that. Give it to someone else. So there you go. Formal education, talking about knowledge. You can get knowledge nowadays even from ICT, from Wikipedia, from YouTube, from all those sources. In other words, knowledge, you can get it from informal and formal education. Those people who are born with innate characteristics, with the gene of being entrepreneur, they might be successful. However, we'll see in the longevity of their business life cycle whether he or she can be sustainable or not. That's another story. For example, I've done this research in terms of gene and ethnic. In Indonesia, we can call the Chinese ethnicity or some ethnic from, let's say, Padang. They have a gene of being a good trader. They said it runs in the family. Actually, yes. Why? You believe in maternity? The life while you are in the womb of your mom, it is also a part of the life cycle of the fetus. And prenatal life, it happens. Perhaps the mother was busy doing business, and it is psychologically is affecting. And when this baby is born in the family, 24/7, who are dealing with the business, the first exposure he or she get is the business. Whether the parents get a formal education in terms of business and science or technology, or it's just informal. Because basically, economy or business is simple. It's the meeting of supply and demand. Bang! You can make it money. Simple as that. Okay? So that's why the myth basically, oh, entrepreneur can be born. Might be yes, might be not. We'll see. If he is born with a gene, but he doesn't nurture the talent, he was just going with the slips. It's a waste of talent. That's why a good parent is a parent who can see, oh, he's got something, he's got a special talent. Nurture the environment, starting from the family. Not just better late than never, but the earlier, the better. Okay? And the other one, still talking about knowledge. If you go to university, or if you get a business degree or engineering degree, it is also a good thing. Why? Because you've got the theory. You know how to analyze the problem. It's not just do and don'ts list. So for example, in your future life, either being staff or entrepreneur, you can say, oh, I've got the problem. So you think how to solve this problem analytically, not just guessing. And for those who are doing their study at university, research teaching university, this is the thing you will get from your university. Because now it's dilemma for the parents. Should I send my kids to university or to polytechnic or Hogeschool school or to University of Applied Sciences? Because the tuition fee is different. Perhaps you might not feel this here in the Netherlands, not yet though, but in England, you have to pay higher tuition fee, 9,000 sterling per year for undergrad. That's a lot of money, unless you are coming from a rich family. But if you're coming from disadvantaged family, the parents has, think, if you go to university, once you graduated, can you get a job? It's also a big puzzle question. But if you go for apprenticeship, it's slightly less expensive. But after that, you might get a job, but it's a low-skilled job. So parents, I was based at the business school. So we are the counselor. We are also lecturer. We are also enterprise center officer. We're also dealing with career enterprise things. So this is a trade-off. This is the thing that we always tell to parents. If you want your kids to have more exposure, analytical skill, and more career path, please go to university. If he or she just happy being worker, and the career path is less demanding, then go to polytechnic or go to apprenticeship. Why? Because some of those people, this kid, well, they go to university, they can get a bigger networks. They can go to other countries using university training, etc. And then you can analyze. You know how to do process rather than outcome. It's about the journey. You know how to analyze the problem. Okay? So there you go. That's a trade-off. That's about knowledge. So you can entrepreneur, they can go to they can get informal and formal education. But of course, the ideal entrepreneur is the one who can have a bit of both. Informal, because they already being tested on the ground. Oh, I don't have that theory. I don't know how to do that. But actually, what I am doing is testing out my products. That's what we call market research. That's what we call piloting. They just don't know it's called that terms, right? Particularly the one who doesn't have a formal degree, but he has passion, and he's been in the business for a couple long times, it's fine. But nowadays, the young entrepreneur, don't be naive. If you want to do this, do it more sensible ways. You've got the formal degree, you've got the experience, you've got the networks, and if you haven't got any experience yet but you want to learn, do the intrapreneurship first. So basically, in terms of paying your bills, while being a staff or co-workers, you can expand your ideas. Okay, this is how I deal with this. Okay, perhaps you can steal the client's list. This happened to my brother-in-law. He's brilliant in terms of marketing. It's not really clever compared to my husband. My husband is intelligent. That's what I call. But his brother is smart. Slightly different. Intelligent is good at theory. That's why he's a researcher. But my brother-in-law is a businessman, and his background is financial law in terms of belasting advisor, fiscal internationally, and he worked for Ernst & Young in the Netherlands for I think 15 years or so. And once upon a time, he's decided, like, I want to dare myself. I want to go out of the Netherlands. So the company gave him an option. Either you go to India or you go to Russia. So he said, right, India, it's challenging. I don't dare myself to go there. So he chose Moscow. So he worked there for, let's say, 6 years. But he was a clever man. Well, working for ASEAN, and then he was making a good relationship. This is what we call networks. Social capital, building trust for the clients. So that's why at some point he said, okay, I don't want to work for ASEAN anymore. I know the recipe. I've got the networks. The client trusts me. So it's about individual. Knowledge base 2.0. It's not about the firm, it's individual. So he said, okay, I went back to the Netherlands, and then this is importance of your alumni networks. Jiska, you mentioned about the importance of alumni. That is absolutely true. Actually, this is a model of American business school, which some of the European business schools try to copy this model. Maintain the alumni network. American business school, they have an alumni reunion and also meeting, but it's not just butter and bread. It's about business. Oh, I've got this company, so this is happening. I would like to have a new fresher, a new startup. Let's get some students because they are still cheap. Indeed. So this is American model. During the alumni events, there's also a business event. So what he did, he called up his old mate, and then they made a company. And each of this individual, they've got already financial capital, social capital, networks, and they do know how to run the business because each of them, they have previously worked for other big companies, one of the big four. So voila, now they're happy. Although now in Russia it's very slightly interesting situation, but that's the challenge, okay? So that's the idea of knowledge. You can get it from formal, you can get it from informal. The ideal is having a bit of both. And experience, for those who are doing studies at research teaching university, don't be cocky. excuse my language. Don't be cocky saying, right, I'm, Delft University or Eindhoven University or Fire University. You might not get the chance to get a workplace. The position might be taken over by those who are just from homeschool. Why? Because they already trained to be a worker and they are ready on the market. They are ready. But you sometimes just have the theory, assignment, project, but actually have you got work experience to deal with a customer? Can you prove that? By the end of the day, you go to an employer. And I was working in the UK, I was part of the selecting committee. So I got bored of this. So I said, oh, this is interesting, okay. And then another thing is keep reinventing yourself. If you got bored in something, move to other things. But make a risk analysis. If I use this one, what will I get from the new venture? If it's not interesting and it's not profitable, stick it for a while. Okay? So, right, okay, we've got 2 candidates. What have you got? This is my diploma, cum laude. Okay, good, okay. The other one, I've got the same thing, cum laude. All right, okay. So have you got work experience? Actually, not quite. All right, okay. And you, of course, over the last 6 months while I was finishing my thesis, blah, blah, blah. So I've got internship and this is justification, this is, all right, you can talk more about your star quality. So at the end of the day, it's not about who is doing smarter in terms of pursuing education formally, but who can convince the workforce how to solve the company's problem. Okay? And then if you can solve their problem, then you're hired instead of you're fired. Have you seen the apprentice program? Not because I was in the UK, but if you have a time, rather than, of course, it's fine to see Holland's Got Talent or others, okay? It's absolutely fine. It's, you have to be relaxed. But if you have a time, look at The Apprentice, either the US or the UK one. The Asia used to be run by Air Asia, Tony Fernandez, and Dragon Dance. How to do business pitch in just 15 minutes. Why is it called pitch? Because pitch is elevator. It's very, very, very short time. The window of opportunity, whether you take it or you leave it. And if I believe nowadays at the university in America, they have what they call as TTO, Technology Transfer Officer. And the UK, they've got KTP, Knowledge Transfer Partnership. So what they do at the university is they are creating incubator, and then those students, they can do startup business. But the university, at some points, they own the shares, let's say 50%. So the IPR belong to university. I'm talking about intellectual property rights. Yeah, not yet the patent. It's just IPR, copyright. It's a simple one. Patent is slightly expensive, and it's a long way to go. So once you are successful, and then if you say, well, I don't want to deal with university again, and then from spin out, you can be spin off. This is what we did over the last, I was interviewing a startup, small and medium-sized enterprise across Europe, because they are the innovation company. In Europe, basically, most of the innovation company, they are small and medium-sized. Why? Because they want to cut off the operational costs. And again, it's about individual. Which more innovative? It's not the firm, it's individual. Once the individual moves to other companies, there you go. Hopefully this firm will be more innovative. That's what we call knowledge-based economy 2.0. It's individual who is doing innovation. And particularly, I remember when this guy, you mentioned about, oh yes, I was talking to my colleagues about my business, and hopefully word of mouth, mouth to mouth, word of mouth can be spill over from this conversation. That's what we get at clients. That's what we call community of practice, COP. Within the engineers, they talk, they share. hey, what sort of product have you got? Technology? It's just relax in the pub or in the cafe, and then hey, how is the prospect of this? How is the prospect of that? It's what we call as community of practice among those engineers. And then if they got sort of ready to move to other things, hey, why don't we join together and talk about the finance? In economic journal, we call it business angel, but they're not really angel though. They're still capitalists, like what I'm doing now. Why they call business angel? Because in the past, the financial regulation. Now I'm talking a little bit of banking. Financial regulation is getting tougher. If you want to start your business, until now, particularly from BNI and other banks in Indonesia, at least you must have 2 years financial cash flow. So neracanya itu at least 2 tahun. Why? Because within 2 years, we can see the cash flow, we can see the prospect, we can forecast your growth. And at least you can convince us, this is our revenue, this is our turnover, this is our financial concern, if you like. But if you just starting with idea, sometimes, of course, they're not stupid, are they? They are talking about money. They don't want to invest in something ridiculous. Excuse my language. They are capitalists because their business cycle is, cycling the money. If it is not profitable, why do we have it to invest into? And you just graduate from university. How can you convince us? Have you got project? Have you got portfolio? You mentioned that absolutely spot on. Starting from now, although you are being a student or part-time student, if you like, build your own CV and portfolio project. So hopefully, by the end of your studies, if you want to switch your career, being entrepreneurship or being businesswoman, you say, I've got the idea, this is my business plan, this is my portfolio, would you be interested in it? And I'm talking now a little bit about marketing mix. I'm sure you're very familiar with this. What are they? Gentlemen in the back, in the front? Do you know a little bit more about marketing mix?
I'm not really.
Just mention what, have you heard about this term?
No.
No? Yeah. All right, okay. Who knows or who has heard about this term before? Marketing mix. Actually, all of you have been talking about this. It's product. And then it's promotion. It's the place. It's the price. Others. When I talk about product, then you have to be careful. As an entrepreneur or intrapreneur or as a producer, what are your products? Are they real tacit product, codified product, or are they services? Because nowadays we have 2 types of product. It's product tangible, we can touch it, it's codified, or service. The ICT mainly is about service, because we have moved from Fordism, from factory, that's what I call knowledge-based economy 1.0 to knowledge-based economy 2.0, where service has taken over the manufacturing, right? As we go along with the ICT technology. So banking, we haven't got any products, we have service, our product is service. Well, for example, the tailor, their product is both service and product. The service because they sew, they made a fashion, they serve you, and then they created something. So it could be a bit of both. So be clear about your product. Identify your product. If there's a tangible or service, then you have to ask yourself, because otherwise, most of the, we used to run this. This is what we call a dragon dance on the campus. So we create a business competition among the undergrad, master, and PhD students. So we mingle them up. and then they have to create business plan, and then they have to make presentation. And some of them, and nearly 50% of them, they fail to understand what is your real product. Is actually what I'm doing is like, yeah, how do you call that? So understand your products and the service. The second one is market. Although your product is good, but if you cannot sell it, it's just stock up in your warehouse. So what's the point? The cash flow is stuck, right? Although your service is good, for example, translator. Most of the housewives now, there's a trend that they become translator. They do the work from home because they want to juggle their time with the family, and they want to have a little bit of income. So their service is translating from this language to others, which is good. It doesn't take much time, but it takes your concentration, because translating is not just translate, it's editing. Okay? And that is also challenging and inspiring. Place. You have to understand, as I said, where do you want to build up your empire? Is it going to be a family? Is it going to be in local? Is it going to be regional? Is it going to be international? Or which country? Because each of those countries, they have a different rules. And most of the rules in developed countries, they are more rigid compared to the one in developing economies. So the chance for you to be successful is also slightly not worrying, but cautious. You have to be cautious, please. And you have to understand who are your target in terms of place. If your product or service is targeted to developing economies, then you have to understand their culture. And you have to understand their regulation. You have to understand their custom. You have to understand the supply chains of your product and service. If you want to do outsource, okay, for example, in Indonesia, they are still cheap and cheerful in terms of designing this and that, because here is hourly rate. But there is project-based fee. Yeah? So you have to understand the place as well. Promotion. Well, you can do marketing is promotion now. You use social media. It's free. Okay, but how can you convince your your clients whether this is a solid one? Because actually, I'm talking about what I've been doing now. BNI. They don't have any physical office in the Netherlands. We are just using a virtual office, and we have shared office with our business partners in the Netherlands. Sorry, in Rotterdam. And in terms of platform of promoting our service here, I'm just using Facebook, because we are not allowed to create a new website. Okay, but it works. It works. Why? Because now the brand image of BNI in the Netherlands is my face. Indeed, who is doing this? Who is the one who is doing BNI in the Netherlands? Who is she? What is she doing? It's me. So that's why I have to be careful to keep my reputation. And sometimes I put my pictures. It's not the intention of being selfie, but to see, right, this is the representative of BNI in the Netherlands, and her background is blah, 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 to get the trust. Because financial service is about trust. If your customer cannot trust you, then there is no business deal. Okay, so promotion you can do cleverly. If you haven't got enough money to do your marketing, then use the other way around. Word of mouth, joining the event is just like what you said, it's snowball effect. If you are doing good, it speaks to itself without you have to come here. No, just let them go. For example, now I've got 24/7. I've got queries from the clients, and I said, right, this is not effective. This is not efficient. So I had to create a viral. I had to create a tutorial clip about our service. So when I've got curious, I just ask, have you seen our clip? Not yet. Please have a look. Should you have further questions, do contact me. Easy job. In the meantime, I go for others. That's the creativity. You have to be entrepreneur. In this case, intrapreneur, using your initiative. Okay. That's a promotion, place, price. Huh. Talking about entrepreneurship, it's not just individual entrepreneurship. There are plenty of entrepreneurship type. Nowadays, for talking about society and impact, we have social entrepreneurship. What is PPI doing actually is social entrepreneurship. However, some of the organizing committee, they've got free lecture from me. Will you charge the attendees? No, Bu, because ini kan sharing ilmu. Aha, that's slightly wrong. Why? If you want to help others, help yourself first. Being an entrepreneur, hopefully, you're not just the one who asks, but you give. So basically, hosting this event, you have given knowledge to attendees, hopefully. You have given food. You have given all the organization of this event. And you have given your valuable time. So charge them. Even though it's just €2. For heaven's sake, you can buy croquette for €2, right? And this one is for the longevity of PPI. Because once you've got a good cash flow, then you don't have to ask for another sponsorship. You can use this for another sustainability, for another sustainable event. You don't have to ask. That's the mentality of entrepreneur. The social entrepreneur, basic entrepreneurship, is the organization who can be self-sufficient without asking money, but still helping others. Have you thought about that? Not yet. Better late than never. So to all events, it's not happening just in the Netherlands, for heaven's sake. In the UK, in Germany, wherever I go, I said to the committee, don't be afraid of charging the attendees. Because the most important thing is your time. Nothing is free today. Thanks God, the oxygen is still free. Water, how much water? Spablau itu berapa harganya udah? €2 something. Okay? So there you go. And that's why being entrepreneur, mental gratisan itu tidak ada. Ya kan Mas Fajar?
Yes.
Nggak ada mental gratisan itu. Kalau Anda masih mental gratisan, berarti Anda belum siap jadi entrepreneur karena masih minta-minta. Masih meminta itu tangan yang di atas lebih baik daripada tangan yang di bawah. Itu mental entrepreneur itu harus memberi, bukan minta. So it's about promotion, it's about place, using a good marketing mix, making a SWOT analysis, making a business plan. Can you make a business plan? Okay, fine.
Yes.
Or you should say, not yet, but I will. Everybody's optimistic. If you say, for example, you've got a job interview, have you made a business plan before? You don't really understand what is meant by business plan, but you're sort of guessing, particularly for those who are doing engineering things, okay? And you said in front of me as a future employer, no, I don't know that. Okay, failed. And you actually, what I've been doing is making a research proposal and it created, so you slightly understand, yeah, I think so. Okay, you have a chance. A good entrepreneur is the one who can be a good communicator, a good marketer, a good convincer. Although you haven't done it, but you will never say no. That's a PMA, positive mental attitude. It's not white lies though, no. Because you haven't done it, but you sort of understand it, right? So there we go. Business plan basically is, first is talking about your profile, your background, that's why in the CV, perhaps we can do a CV workshop. Perhaps we can do a business plan model workshop. Now I'm not going to talk in details because I challenged PPI Amsterdam, make another workshop, workshop, and then we can deal in practice. And you charge them, even though it's just €5. And the money is not for me, it is for your association. Yeah. But I'm not being capitalist now. I'm wearing my scientist, so I share my knowledge to you. Business plan, you make your profile. Who are you? What have you done over the last 5 years? Have you got credential? What is your educational background? Everything about yourself. And then you create what is the idea of your business. Try to be smart as possible, specific. Not just, I want to sell something. I want to sell food. Yeah, what sort of food? Who is the target of your food? Is it for kid? Is it for teenager? Is it for adult? You have to classify them. Okay? And after that, targeting about their marketing mix, and then you come to what we call as financial plan. This is the interesting bit. Why? Because I totally agree with Mas Fajar. If you can, okay, being a startup, don't go to the bank yet. Although now I'm a banker, but I advise you, do not go to us yet. Why? It's risky. We are smiling face people. Of course, what sort of business plan you have? But behind those smiling face, there is responsibility, interest rate. Okay, so that's why I suggest you become entrepreneur first. Get ervaring, get the knowledge, get the experience, and get the social capital, saving. So if you already work, this is for your utility bills, this is for your own family, and this is hopefully entrepreneurship idea. So you put in a poche in the spare, piggy bank, like kantong Doraemon, ya. So itu buat rencana entrepreneur. Sehingga, so therefore, you can use your own money. I did that. To be honest with you, I haven't told you my real story. I just sort of trying to preach you. But I speak from my experience. That's why all the things that I've talked to you is a real experience. 30 years I worked for British University, researcher, etc. And also we have a consulting with small and medium size in England. That's a part of our job as university lecturer. And then I met my husband, and then I decided to step down from my career in the UK to follow him in the Netherlands. This is one of the big decisions because, to be honest with you, I was about to be British. I tick all the boxes, and then he pleasantly messed up my plan. And he didn't want to go to UK. So I said, okay, what are we going to do now? Oh my God, what should I do? Well, actually, I made one of the biggest decisions. Okay, I stepped down from my 10-year career as a scientific, as an academic. And then I said, okay, let's go to Netherlands. But over the last 10 years, I've been building up my social capital, my networks, and my financial capital. So I stepped down from being an academic, and then I moved to the Netherlands. And then, thanks God, it's just 3 days after I landed safely here, officially, despite the immigration. You have to understand, when I mentioned about the place, bear in mind, immigration is getting tougher now. If you want to start your business in a particular country, at least you must be the resident of that country. Why? Because you will get more support. And then you can claim some benefit, you can claim some VAT or VAT deduction, you can get more support. If you're just, haven't got a resident permit, whatever it is, yeah, it's going to be difficult. Immigration, if you finish your study, you can have, at least here, you can have Zubia, and it's 1 year. In the UK, they dismiss that, at least in Scotland, because they still want to have more talent. So you can come back to developed country, either being highly skilled migrant, or you can have entrepreneur scheme. Ada itu. Why? Because those rich countries, they want to attract international entrepreneur, not just a footballer. To be honest with you, I was fighting in the UK with other scientists We were marching on the street on the 9th of, forgot, March or some, March 19, 2000, 2005 or 7, because we were protesting the footballers. They can get easily to go to UK because they have a higher transfer money, salary. But who is actually doing the benefit for social economy in the UK? Those football players or us, as scientists? Seriously, that's what we call as a migration cap. They stop it. So those, Oxford, for example, used to have 300 scientists from all over the world, because in academic we believe we would like to attract international brains. That's the idea of a great science. You nurture the best brain, but because of this migration, you cannot. So you just Oxford University, for example, from 300 to 30. So there you go. Bang. So talking about my story, I went to the Netherlands, and 3 days officially when I came here, after all the inburgering and Dutch language, everything, okay? So I've got a job as a manager in an international school. I was very pleased. And it was actually culturally demanding, because I was the manager for English, Dutch, afdeling, department, tweetalig onderwijs, bilingual school. But of course, I'm not great. I'm Indonesian. And for Dutch people, it's not racist whatsoever, no. But this is what happens. Why we have to hire you? You are Indonesian, and we used to colonize you, and you are our boss in terms of English now. I just want to give you the entrepreneurial spirit. During the job interview, I said to them, I'm not Brits. I'm not pretending to be Brits. Physically, you can say that I'm Asian. Okay? But I lived there for 10 years. I learned by heart how to be British. I learned English, I learned the culture, and I know the custom. Some of you might have dual passport, British and Dutch, but have you ever lived there? No? You just visit as a tourist, but I lived there for 10 years. So whether you like it or not, thank you very much for the opportunity. If you want to contact me, you've got my numbers. Other than that, have a lovely evening. I went out. Next year, they called me, you've got the job. Thank you. This is sort of spirit. Don't dare to sell yourself. If you have the power, if you have the capacity, do it. If you don't ask, you don't get. Okay? So that's why I became the manager of this international group. But I wasn't happy. Financially, it's very good. But I wasn't happy. Because I knew this is one of the character of entrepreneurial people. You knew that you could do more than this. Is that right, Mas Fajar? You've got that innate instinct. You can do more than this. But how? When? Then I've made another tougher decision. I quit. I tendered my resignation. My husband was sort of freaking out. My goodness, what are you doing, Desi? You're not happy. This is a very difficult time to get a job. Yeah, but I wasn't happy. So financially, I know, I will not get a stable income as I used to be, but at least I still have my saving, and I will use that for being an entrepreneur. I've been preaching out entrepreneurship to my students, and now it's my time for me to do it. And I learned it from my parents. They're also very good entrepreneur. With my parents' money, they can send me to UK without any scholarship. UK is a very expensive country. But they invest that in me without any loans from bank whatsoever. My father works for an oil company as a manager of offshore. But my mom, she is the one who's doing entrepreneur. She invests my dad's money in property. And that's why. And if you want to invest, do not use obligation saham dan lain-lain. I'm sorry, to me it's a bit bullshit, but I like to invest in something tangible, real. Property, business, bukan hanya saham, karena saham itu fluktuasi. Terlihat smart, ada 3 scam, ada 3 monitors. The graphic, oh my god, the traders are always really nice, well suited. But actually, ask them, can you buy an apartment using your saham money? Not me. Yeah, okay. So it's not profitable. Don't do that. So invest in something very tangible. Usaha. Yeah. And then I quit from my job, and then I start my consulting company. It was nearly, it's just let's say 8 months before another company invited me to work, which is BNI. It was good in terms of turnover, and I said some of the people, some of the graduates, they call themselves consultant. And what are the credentials? I might not never, work for the Big Four, but most of my students, they work for Big Four. And I said to my husband, my credential is my PhD, my certificate, my fellowship, my others, and I've done publications, and I've done this, this, this. So my portfolio is agile. So I can call myself consultant without joining the real consultant company. And I can prove it. So with my publication, the clients trust me. But in the end of, not in the end, it's just in the middle of this startup and develop cycle, because bear in mind, you have business life cycle. You have to understand that startup, develop, maturity, and hopefully it's not aging. You have to understand the business cycle, okay? So in the middle of my development cycle, another state-owned bank, they approached me. So after making a trade-off, I decided to take this opportunity. Why? Because this is much more, you talk about being idealistic. Over the last, let's say, 10 years, I was working for British government. Now is the time for me to dedicate to my own government, wherever I am. And I know the scope, is my scope, economic, geography, economic, and this is my things. And you should not doubt me, because I said to BNI, normally you hire my students, but now you hire the guru. That should be interesting. Yes, indeed. Because normally I said to the students, do this, and we have this sort of discussion. But now I'm the one who's doing it. It's fun. The most important thing is you have to be fun, enjoy it. Understand the myth, understand the pitfalls, understand the risk. Get the mentor. That is absolutely spot on. Because sometimes being entrepreneur, you can be what I call as megalomaniac. You think that I can do it, I'm a risk taker, I don't need to advise, thank you very much, I can deal with this. Even to your wife sometimes. Honey, you have to do, no, thank you very much, you don't know about this business. However, be careful. You need to be objective still. Get advisor outside of your system. The one who is truly objective, the one who hasn't got any vested interest, the one who wants to see you become successful. And the good example is just mingle with the gray-haired people. Why? Because they are no longer in your rat race. They don't need to compete with you. They've done that. What they're doing is the third mission, to help you to create another new startup, a new person. And they know how it feels, and they feel good if they can share. So find that great people. That's what I did over the last 10 years. I was not just mingling with my, equal age, but, more senior, because those people, they are the one who's got the social capital and networks. And you can learn from them, even though they're mystic. You can learn from the mystic, and they will be, honestly sharing with you. Don't do this. Why? In my experience, oh, right, okay. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Very good. So you don't have to do this mistake. Without that story, I end this talk. Thank you very much. Have a lovely afternoon. Thank you.
I really enjoyed the last presentation, but unfortunately we run out of the time. But if anyone has a question, maybe they can ask you
Three questions?
personally.
Oh, to you personally, yeah.
Yeah, because we run out of time. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's all. We have a three wonderful presentation, but
We got goodie bags
oh yeah,
from the BNI.
for a presenter, for a speaker.
For the chairwoman and the two presenters.
Oh, thank
Masa,
you.
masa jeruk makan jeruk?
But before we give the token of appreciation for Bank BNI as our sponsor, there is one more presentation for Indonesian Migrant Workers Union. They will promote a screening film event. I don't even know what kind of film is that, but let's give them like certain time for Indonesian Migrant Workers Union. Where is the IMU? Oh, yes. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Actually, today is not my presentation. Miss Jessie asked me to presentation about the movie. Yeah, it was about helping people without document, also students, also people who live in Netherlands. So between 4 years, we already build up with the network how to help people, especially Indonesian people, so they can survive in Netherlands. Now, today I don't want to talk much. Just I want to show you the trailer of our movie, and we gonna launch it in the 19th April in New Herengracht, Waterloo Plate number 20. 20. Do you have a? Yeah. Yeah.